that familiar moment strikes again. You're face to face with an acquaintance you've encountered multiple times, yet their name has completely vanished from your mind. It's not just eluding you, it's utterly gone as if you never heard it, leaving no trace in your memory. The true agony isn't the memory lapse itself, but the frantic, unspoken performance that follows. You subtly shift, praying for a distraction or a third party to save you. While common, frequent name forgetters aren't careless or rude, they're also not unintelligent despite unspoken doubts. Instead, a specific neurological process is at play within their minds. Grasping this will fundamentally change how you perceive this common struggle. To understand this, let's consider what happens the moment you first encounter someone new. Your brain immediately engages in an intense, multifaceted analysis. It processes their facial expressions, vocal tone, and the surrounding environment. Simultaneously, you're assessing social dynamics, evaluating mutual likability, and strategizing your next conversational contribution. Your working memory, located in the prefrontal cortex, is a short-term buffer, actively managing numerous pieces of information. Amidst this intense mental activity, a new, seemingly arbitrary piece of data is introduced: the person's name. For instance, they might extend their hand and say, "Hi, I'm Kevin." Your mind registers it, Kevin. At this critical juncture, that name, Kevin, lacks immediate inherent meaning for your brain. It's merely an isolated sound, detached from any context or significance within your ongoing mental processing. Your brain is overloaded, prioritizing other social cues, which often leaves little room for this new, unanchored piece of information. When you encounter someone new, your brain is simultaneously processing a vast amount of information. It's actively deciphering facial expressions, interpreting vocal tones, and assessing the social dynamics of the interaction. You're also gauging their potential interest in you, deciding your own feelings, and planning your next conversational contribution. Essentially, your prefrontal cortex, housing your working memory, is intensely juggling multiple cognitive tasks at once. In this state of high mental activity, a new name often struggles to find a foothold. Psychologists have actually identified a specific reason for this common memory lapse. It was demonstrated in a compelling 1987 study by researchers McWeeny and Ellis, known as the Baker-Baker paradox. They presented participants with a photo, informing one group that the person's profession was a baker. A separate group was told the same individual's surname was Baker. Days later, the participants who learned the occupation remembered it significantly better than those given the name. Despite being the exact same word, its retention varied dramatically depending on how it was introduced. The term baker as a job instantly triggers a rich network of related concepts: flour, warm bread, and dawn routines. Conversely, baker as a mere name remains isolated, activating no such mental connections, effectively floating without roots. Your brain, being an incredibly efficient system, naturally prioritizes and retains information that holds intrinsic meaning. Consider the vivid details you recall from a funeral: the scent of flowers, the hushed atmosphere, or a particularly impactful phrase. What you likely won't recall, however, is the specific text or details from the funeral's order of service. Your brain, acting autonomously, decided what truly held significance for your memory. The written program itself was simply not among the elements deemed important enough to retain. Names in this context are like that program. The person's true essence is the entire impactful event. Now, let's delve into a more personal and potentially uncomfortable truth about this phenomenon. Many individuals who consistently forget names tend to be deeply self-preoccupied during social engagements. This internal focus stems from anxiety and self-doubt, rather than from any sense of arrogance or disinterest. As someone introduces themselves, these individuals are often caught up in a powerful internal monologue. Their minds are busy questioning their social performance, eye contact, handshake, or potential interruptions. The new name briefly registers, but their overwhelming self-focused thoughts quickly overshadow and erase it. This specific cognitive behavior is not merely anecdotal, it's a scientifically documented phenomenon. Psychologist Malcolm Brenner first identified and described it in 1973, giving it a particular name. He observed that people waiting to speak in a group often struggle to recall what the person just before them uttered. Their intense anticipation of their own turn significantly diminishes their recall of the preceding speaker's contribution. Instead of arrogance, this forgetfulness often stems from an anxious self-focus during introductions. As someone else speaks, these individuals are caught in an internal dialogue, questioning their own presentation. They might wonder, am I making enough eye contact? Is my handshake too firm? Did I just interrupt them? The new name barely registers before their intense self-scrutiny completely overrides it. This isn't just about specific moments. Those with social anxiety or heightened self-awareness are perpetually in this state. They are never fully present, always mentally a step ahead, preparing for what's next. This means when a name is offered, their mind is already elsewhere, unable to truly absorb it. If this resonates with you, understand that it's not a memory deficit, but rather a problem of preoccupation, which is very different. Now, let's consider the perspective of those whose names are forgotten, because the emotional impact is genuinely significant. It would be unfair to dismiss the real sting felt when your name isn't remembered. Being forgotten, especially repeatedly, delivers a subtle yet sharp message. You weren't important enough to be recalled. Even if unintended, that's how the brain interprets it, and our minds don't always operate on rational thought. However, the person who forgot your name likely still valued your conversation and remembered specific details about your discussion. They probably recalled what you spoke about, even if your name slipped their mind. Most people hold a fundamental misconception about how human memory truly functions. It doesn't operate like a simple recording device, capturing every moment or detail perfectly. Your brain certainly doesn't store experiences in the same structured way a hard drive saves files. Instead, it primarily holds onto fleeting impressions, strong emotions, discernible patterns, and mere fragments of events. It then prioritizes these scattered pieces with extreme efficiency, discarding what isn't deemed critical. Information tied to intense emotions or anything surprising or unexpected is readily retained and stored. Similarly, facts that connect to knowledge you already possess are often secured in memory with ease. But what about an arbitrary syllable, like a name given to you in a fleeting moment? Especially when you're preoccupied, perhaps striving to appear composed before a new acquaintance? In such situations, committing that specific name to memory becomes a significant challenge, almost a gamble. Individuals who frequently struggle with names often share a distinct cognitive trait. They tend to be highly associative thinkers. Their memory is not just strong, but richly contextual, focusing on narratives, emotions, and significant expressions. They might vividly recall an outfit someone wore at a party 3 years ago, yet draw a blank on a name just heard moments ago. This occurs because their brain actively catalogs everything but that specific identifying label, which isn't a flaw. Instead, it represents a unique cognitive architecture specifically designed to process information differently. This particular mental framework, in fact, excels at processing narratives and crafting compelling stories. It also fosters a profound capacity for emotional attunement, allowing for deep empathy and understanding. This type of mind enables a quality of listening that truly makes others feel heard and genuinely appreciated. However, this very architecture is less adept at the mechanical task of recalling names, especially under the pressure of social interaction. Despite this inherent design, it doesn't mean we should abandon efforts to improve our name recall abilities. For instance, consciously repeating a person's name immediately after hearing it is a highly effective technique. Another helpful method involves linking the new name to a distinct visual cue or to someone you already know. These strategies prove effective because they manually establish the associations your brain doesn't naturally create on its own. You are, in essence, constructing a mental bridge, connecting a new name like Kevin to something already familiar in your mind. Yet the pervasive feeling of shame, the quiet conviction that forgetting names implies a lack of care or dismissiveness, is fundamentally mistaken. This misconception needs to be stated clearly, as many internalize it without questioning its origin or validity. You are not absent-minded or dismissive of others. Your cognitive makeup simply processes social information in a profoundly unique way. The brain doesn't automatically form name associations. Instead, it requires a conscious effort to build that connection. You must actively forge a link, connecting a new name to something already established in your mental landscape. However, the pervasive feeling of shame, the quiet conviction that forgetting names implies a lack of care, is deeply flawed. This notion suggests one moves through life without genuinely acknowledging others, a belief that is simply incorrect. It's crucial to articulate this clearly, as many internalize this misconception without questioning its roots or validity. You are neither absent-minded nor dismissive of others because of this specific cognitive pattern. Instead, your brain simply prioritizes information differently, often influenced by its own internal state or weather. This unique processing sometimes leads to a failure in recalling the most trivial detail about a person: their name. A name is merely an arbitrary sound assigned by parents, long before any memorable actions define the individual. The name itself was always the least significant aspect of who a person truly is. What you truly retain about people, their essence, their unique character, remains intact. That profound understanding has always been present. To explore these psychological insights further, I've curated a collection of books on human behavior and independent thought. You'll find this list via the link in the description and pinned comment, offering resources to expand your understanding. If you found this content engaging, please consider subscribing and activating the notification bell. Continue exploring the fascinating nuances of the human mind.